words.
Welcome, sirs.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome.
Hey, hey.
What's
up, ladies?
Huh?
What's up?
What's up, you guys?
All good over here. Kids around putting on a lip gloss, getting all glamorous.
Okay. Welcome back to our channel, What Soul Sisters Say, for part 2 of Religion versus Relationship.
Yes.
Y'all ready?
We ready.
That's by popular demand.
Let's get into it. But before we do, hit like, share, that notification button, and leave us a comment and let us know what y'all thinking. Okay?
And subscribe.
Oh, I didn't say subscribe? Okay.
And subscribe.
Okay, well, I think I'm going to start this time because I received a private message from someone who watched our last video, and she wanted to know more about our story from religion to relationship.
Okay.
So first, I just want to acknowledge real quick, and this is just me, the beauty in all religious practices from all different nationalities, races, cultures, everything. To me, I find beauty in all of that. So this is not to say that, there's only one way. That's kind of what we talked about in the other video. Finding your own way is going to be your best way. So it's not the same thing. It's not going to work for everybody. But she specifically asked me about she said, I have more questions. Y'all have to do a part 2 because I got questions. So basically, really quick, I think when you start on your spiritual journey, the first thing I think you need to be prepared for is loneliness. Because I see both of y'all shaking y'all head. Because the people around you in your immediate circle, whether it's your family, your friends, your mate, whomever, they may not be at that point in their journey. They may have probably gone on before you, or they may be coming up after you. But if they're not on the same path that you're on at the same time, they may not understand what you're doing, what you're saying, what you're going through. They may not support it. But that's my advice. Be prepared for loneliness, but commit to the things that are pulling on you, the things that you're hearing, the things that you agree with, the things that you don't. Take note of everything. And again, like we said in the last one, follow your heart, because that's going to ultimately lead you to your happiest self, your happiest place, alignment. Speaking of alignment, does anybody see any common denominators in our video? And again, we never decide what we're going to do, but
Green for the heart chakra, for love and unity and harmony.
Yeah.
I've been feeling green lately.
Me too. You know what's funny?
Green is my favorite color. I think
Yeah,
I feel my best when I have on green. I don't know. I just feel real happy because to me it represents growth, and that to me is the goal in all things. So I didn't mean to get off on a tangent on that. I just wanted to bring attention to the synchronicity and the alignment of when you're in the same spiritual vein. Things like this just happen, and then we're going to get into our cards later because that's also great. So that was just my little tidbit. And so if anybody else wants to chime in about their specific journey and a tip or something you want to share with her.
I definitely have a tip, because when I got when I led to being reborn again, as the religious traditional Christian would say. I was 26 years old, and like I said on the last video, I had a lot of backlash from my in-laws, and then that spilled over into my own close family. I mean, let me tell you something. I remember the girl, I don't know if we're talking about the same girl who commented on our first video, but she said that she was kind of like the black sheep of the family. Well, I was that with not you guys, not my immediate family, but extended family and my in-laws. I was called Jezebel for wanting to wear makeup, polish, and jeans to church. I mean, my daughter was told she was going to hell. She wanted to wear a skirt. Okay. I was told that I didn't have a close relationship with God because I was pregnant and not married. And just all of those things. And as a baby in Christ, it will actually make you run from your relationship versus running to. My tip would be to piggyback off what Nalo said. Definitely go by feeling with what resonates with you, but also going into it understanding that a belief, and I'm quoting Abraham here for those of you who know who she is. I followed her teaching for over 3 years, and she helped me heal from an abusive relationship. But she always quoted, a belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. Okay. And if whatever you tell your mind is so powerful, it will believe whatever you say or program it to believe. So my tip is our ancestors, okay, the people that came before us, our parents, and they were all taught one way to believe a certain way. And they instilled that belief system to us. At some point, you have to find your own way. So church to me was a foundation, and I consider it a school. Everybody has to graduate from a school. Okay. So that's my takeaway. Just like the word says, study to show yourself approved. But see, when you're sitting under leadership in the church and things just started being pricked in my spirit, that goes back to what Nilo said. Go by the way that you feel, what resonates with you. Take away what you take away from it and leave the rest. That's my tip. You have to really go by, especially in the time we're living in today. It's strictly by intuition, strictly by feeling. That's what we're moving into.
Mm-hmm.
So can you just repeat what you said about the mind real quick? I think that deserves to be said again.
A quote by Abraham Hicks. You can look her up on YouTube. I followed her teachings for many years. She used to always say, belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. Okay, because I'm gonna say this again, our minds are extremely powerful, and whatever we tell our minds to believe, that is exactly what it's going to believe. And see, spirit, God is so good, because just like he said, many are called but few are chosen, right? And few listen to the call. Well, you're chosen, handpicked when you're sitting under a teaching, okay? And some pricks in your spirit that something's not right. You don't ignore that. That's the feeling, the intuition, that's God. Like I said in the first video, he specifically told me, this is not how I intend for you to serve me. And it was clear as day. I heard that in my spirit, being under a religious leadership. Mm-hmm. So see, we have to break those chains. Who's going to be bold enough to step out from under that and say, no, I don't agree with you? You understand? Who's going to be bold enough? Like I said in the last video, read the book, The 4 Agreements. I think it's Don Pablo, if I'm saying, I hope I'm not saying his name wrong, because he's a Mexican, or Hispanic author. Y'all know, Google it. It's The 4 Agreements. That is the book that helped me change my whole perception about this reality. And it helped me get out of the matrix.
Mm-hmm. I'll link the book in the comments.
Okay.
I can't Arthur's names, y'all. Please.
He wrote a series of other books too that were really, really good.
But it was amazing. It was like an eye opener for me. But also this book called As a Man Thinks, and I do remember his name, James Allen. I hope that's right. That's a powerful
for the comment section.
I need to put it in the comments, because that's a powerful book too. And that goes back to what I just quoted, the belief system. As a man thinketh, whatever you think, that is what's going to come to pass. So if you really think that you are a sinner and you're not worthy to walk this earth, then that's what you're training your mind to believe. So that's going to be your belief, your reality.
Exactly. That my tip would be to just follow what works for you. You have to follow what works for you. You have to be committed to yourself. You have to do what's good for you, because you come here alone, you're going to leave alone. And really, the only thing this is going to affect is you. It may affect some people around you, but you have to decide, am I going to be committed to myself, or am I going to be committed to my surroundings and the people around me, which are temporary? Your job is temporary. Your family situation could be temporary. Your marriage could be temporary, but your relationship with spirit is permanent. So it's almost like you have to decide, am I going to choose my spirituality, or am I going to choose the husband? Am I going to choose my spirituality and my beliefs and what I think, or am I going to choose this situation I'm in, or this type of business I'm in that goes against everything that I believe and everything that I'm into? And when you feel that discord in your body and in your mind, it makes sense for you to choose yourself and to choose what resonates with you, what feels good to you, because all you're doing is lining up with what was in your ancestry line naturally. And like Nalo said, there are a lot of different beliefs and a lot of different religions, because the world is vast, and ancestors come from all walks of life and all different types of background, but the end game and the common goal is still the same. So it really doesn't matter how you get there, as long as you get there. And then once you get there and you get your peace of mind and your faith is built up, and you feel real good about what's going on, and everything in your life really feels like a sunny day, things will get better, because that's how I learned how to make decisions. When I was going down the path, a religious path, it just felt like clouds and rain all the time. A lot of sorrow, sadness, oppression. And to me, I didn't believe that I was going to be happy after I die and go to heaven. Like, I just wasn't trying to wait for all of that. I want to be happy right now. Like, why do I have to wait and do all of these rules that clearly were not working out and weren't aligned with who I am, because I wasn't happy. I wasn't satisfied. So in my discontentment was my search for the truth. And now that my truth, and now that I'm there, I feel my contentment, I feel my happiness, and it works for me. And I just tell people want to argue different things. You know, the thing is, just try it and see if it works for you. You don't have to, because I mean, it works for me. So that's why I do it. But you should just try different things and see what works. And someone told me, either things are going to fall in line or they're going to fall off. If you walk your path, everything in your life is either going to come in alignment and fall in line, or it's going to fall off. And things that fall off don't belong there anyway. And so that's kind of my tip, is to just, I stick by my spirituality, because my spirituality is what's gotten me through everything in my life. Not my mother, not my father, not my boyfriends or husbands or friends. When I'm alone by myself, it's me and spirit. So that's what I follow. That's what I listen to. That is my mother and my father. That's my family. That's the closest thing to me. So by me following that, and I get the results from that, and then say I follow someone else or religion and I get the results from that, all you have to do is compare the two. And you only can go by how you feel, because the body is the messenger. And that's what we were designed to listen to in the first place, not anything outside of yourself but yourself. So if people are feeling like the black sheep and like they don't fit in, you're supposed to, because we're moving into a form of individuality. There's not going to be any more gurus and, oh, let's follow the Pope and Celestia or, you know, whoever you want to follow, or even celebrities for that matter, or anything. All that's coming to a close. People are going to be individuals following themselves. You can line up with a tribe that you feel good about and you have connections with and common goals in mind with, but your individuality is what's on the rise. And what you believe for yourself is on the rise. And something you believe today might not be true tomorrow. Just like, okay, was in love with him at one time, but I'm not in love with him anymore. I used to believe, but I don't believe this anymore. And that could change within a 24-hour span. Anything could change. Just like laws and rules change of the land. You know, at one time, you could go to jail for selling marijuana. Now it's legal. And before that, it was legal. So things will always change. But the only thing that will never change is what your true desire is and what works for you. That will never change.
I agree with that. And I want to really quick speak on two things that you said. One is when you talked about being on the journey and you brought up the husband and wife. So because I am currently a wife, I just want to speak to anyone who's in a marriage and they're on a spiritual journey and that may not be supporting you. That's going to speak a lot about how much they respect you and how much they honor you, because I think that a lot of people say, well, two different spiritual walks, they can't coincide together. I personally, and this is just me, I think that you can, if you develop a certain level of respect and understanding that each of our journey, we're journeying alongside each other, but they're still separate. And if you choose that way and I choose that way, as long as we are still operating in the same vein of love and honor and respect and all of that, I personally think that it can work. I think the problem comes in when you feel like your way is the only way and you can't understand that that person doesn't follow the same thing that you follow. We have to, even in marriages, understand that there's still individualism, and your mate should be able to respect your walk, what's happening in your personal journey, and support you in that. They don't have to do the exact same thing that you're doing, and you should be able to do the vice versa for them, respecting their particular walk. It's not going to be the exact same as yours, even if it's in the same religion. They're still going to have different experiences and different ways that the Spirit is going to speak to them and them only. So I just wanted to say that to anyone who's in a marriage, that stay committed, because if your mate is truly divine for you, they are going to understand that your walk is your walk, and they're going to support you in that. And the other thing I wanted to speak on was, because a lot of people are asking, well, how do I get in that place or go down that journey? It's nothing wrong with asking people for assistance or asking people, well, what book can I read? Or what affirmation can I say? Or what prayer? There's nothing wrong with that. So don't feel ashamed that you feel something, but you don't really know how to jumpstart it. You can reach out to the people who are exhibiting the things that are lining up with the way that you're feeling, and they should be able to point you in a direction. Now, not that you're going to follow what they're saying, but they should, once you start going in that direction, things are going to start to open up in your path and flip over one by one. So then you'll know that you're going in the right direction.
Right.
You know,
I see you itching.
as you was speaking, Spirit just gave me the author of that book, girl. And I don't know why I keep calling him Pablo. That's not the first time, because I must have read another Pablo. But that book is Don Miguel Ruiz.
That's his name.
Oh, Don Miguel.
Don Miguel Ruiz. The book, The Four Agreements. That is a must read for people that are seeking their own journey. And to add to that, to piggyback off of what Nalo was saying about the married people being walking together on the journey but separate. I wanted to add just quickly to that this whole journey is about self-mastery. not mastering your husband or your wife, mastering the self. And going on that journey of self-mastery, the truth seeker, should I say, just using that spirit of discernment. Because let me tell you something, when you seek God, he seeks you, period. So that discernment will fall upon you, and you will literally know which way to go, right from wrong. You will literally, it's just like any relationship, like with your husband or your wife, as you develop that bond, that relationship with the creator, the divine, it's like never leaves you out. He doesn't need to tell anybody anything, or her. The divine is no gender. But the divine doesn't need to tell anybody anything about you without telling you first. True. So that's my whole thing, just developing that whole relationship with the divine. And then the closer that relationship becomes, the more discerning spirit you'll develop. And then you won't even have to question anything. It just happens like magic.
The key is trust.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Nalo. When you say stay committed, I'm believing she's saying stay committed to yourself, not staying committed to your marriage, because I was married when I went through a phase of my awakening, and your awakening and your commitment to yourself could get you divorced. Because if your partner is not growing with you, and like she said, not respecting you and loving you properly, even though you may love someone, because then the church was teaching me to, endure, stay married, stay committed, put holy water in the washing machine, in the bathtub, like I'm sprinkling water all over this man from head to toe, and nothing is changing. And I hear God telling me to leave this man, but because I'm in church, it was contradictory, because the Bible was preaching against divorce and saying, you should endure and just kind of weather the storm. And, when the doors close in your face, keep knocking until it opens, and different things like that, which I'm not a believer in those things anymore. I'm a believer in I go where the red carpet is rolled out to me. I've had a couple of breakups because of my spirituality, and I've always had to come to the point where I have to choose, am I going to choose my spirituality, or am I going to choose this man? And I can guarantee you, if you choose that thing outside of your spirituality, it will crash and burn in your face, because it wasn't designed like that. So you have to me, God is an out-of-the-box God. And that's the problem with the religion versus spirituality. That Bible has its place. And you also have to question anything man has had his hands on or in. And you have to question, that was the only book that was given to the slaves that they were even allowed to learn how to read. So you have to think about those things too. But when God says, when you fast and pray, which a lot of people probably will, because this is going to separate. We're going through a separation where the believers are being separated from the non-believers, and people are just falling away from what they used to believe in and what used to work for them, because they're just feeling different. And the world teaches you that you're not supposed to really be doing that. So I was at that point where I was stuck, because I had these kids and this husband. We bought this house, and I'm like, we're not supposed to get divorced, but I was so unhappy, and it was such a miserable marriage. I went to counseling, a spiritual counselor, Christian counselor, and she freed me when she said, it's a miracle. She told my husband, she said, my then husband, she said, it's a miracle she's still married to you. So when she said something, when she said that really freed me, because these men, and I'm just speaking from that point of view because I'm a woman, but people will really have you thinking that you're going crazy or you're doing the wrong thing, because they don't want to unplug from your light, your positivity. You are the blessed one. But if you match yourself up with the dark energy or someone you're not supposed to be with, you'll see your prosperity stop instantly. you'll see your wealth go to zero in 60 seconds when you are aligned with the wrong energy. So it's very important to, even if it doesn't look like it makes sense, because it doesn't look like it makes sense for me to divorce my husband, break up my family, you know, go through all of that rigmarole. You know, it's expensive to get a divorce, but God was speaking to do it. And I didn't even have to initiate it. I just had to listen to what God was telling me and line up with what I was doing. And he ended up filing for the divorce, and the domino effect started from there. Come to find out, the kids were on board and happy about it, because it wasn't common to even be married, which that should be another video, because that's a whole separate entity, this concept of marriage, and is it right or wrong, and are we even supposed to be doing that? Because that whole concept is messed up. But if you have to be ready, go back to the beginning of this video, to be alone. And I believe if you choose to say no to the wrong things, you will be realigned with the right things. You'll be so much happier. You'll be blessed. You'll get double for your trouble, with just eliminating fear and the fact that, okay, this says I should stay married, or I should stay on this job. I should do this, I should do that. No, you should be doing exactly the opposite, whatever's dropped in your spirit to do, even if it doesn't make sense. I find in those times is where I'm blessed and I get my most miracles, when I do the shit that just don't make sense to me in my head. And when I listen and I do it, I hit a home run. But if I do what I think I'm supposed to be doing, that's when I would go down this dark road or make the wrong decisions or do the wrong things. So I had to learn, that's one of the ways I really learned to listen to spirit, because I would make my own decision and see where it goes, and then I would listen to spirit, and most times it's not going to make sense. And then most times things are going to come at 11:59 when your back is up against the wall. But I promise you, if you go in that road less traveled, that's where all the blessings and the treasures lie. And people stay in marriages for, I mean, a lifetime and never be happy, never be in love. And people told me the love would come, and honestly, it never did. It just never did. I just was doing what I thought I was supposed to be doing, getting married, having these kids, you know, just with going to college. Don't do the things you think you're supposed to do. Take time to get to know yourself so you can do the things that are right for you.
Yeah.
And she literally is saying the exact same thing of what I said: self-mastery and discernment.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. And to answer your question, I was talking about staying committed to self, stay committed to your heart. I guess we could do a video on marriage, but I think commitment to self ultimately is going to lead you to the right partner for you if marriage is what you desire. So I don't think being committed to anything outside of yourself is going to lead you there. It's the commitment to yourself and to the things that are pulling on your heart and your passions and your desires and all of that, that's going to lead you to the most blissful place for you. And whether that's on a perfect job or your own business or a marriage or a motherhood, whatever that is, I think your heart is going to lead you there. So I'm going to pull my card real quick because it kind of went in line with the things that you were saying. Plus it is in line with what we're talking about in our last few minutes. So earlier, we were talking about the alignment of the fact that all of us had on some type of green today. And then as I was shuffling my cards, this is the one that I pulled. I don't know if y'all can see that, but yeah, it is the green. It is green. And she is the mermaid soul. She has green eyes and all of this greenery in the back. I don't know if y'all can really see it, and her card number is 33.
33.
So put 3
30
again.
what?
33.
33.
Oh, the math number.
And so the message really quick is love is not blind. It only sees what matters. So real quick, this card says deep within, You know what excites and inspires you. Your job isn't to decide whether that inspiration is practical, realistic, or even possible. Human beings have been shown throughout history that the ideas which they once scoffed at as being ridiculous or impossible to achieve can become the reality that they rely upon and take for granted as a natural part of their daily lives, not long afterwards. You too shall move from doubt to wondering how you ever lived without this passion, idea, or inspiration of yours. Let the universe show off its creative flair for the unexpected and inspirational through you. Do not give up on what truly moves and inspires your heart, for soon enough it will be part of your world.
That's awesome.
That is.
I love it.
Next.
Okay, well, I pulled from a new deck tonight, the Life Changes Oracle, and it's appropriate in line with what we're talking about, moving from religion into relationship. It's the Welcome the New card. You see the butterfly for transformation and change. And it, to me, it just means what it is. Welcome the new. Don't listen, we have to unlearn. Forget about those traditional ways of doing things and welcome the new.
Welcome to you.
Yep.
I got children. And it says know that your children are protected. And the book says all parents' first and foremost responsibility is to keep their children safe from harm. The angels want to reassure you that all is well. Your children in heaven and on earth are loved and protected by God and the angels. Your children function at their best when they are loved, cherished, and feel secure within their home and family environment. And whenever I get a children card, I just kind of look at us all as children, adult children, so to speak, in the universe. So this card is just reaffirming that we have strength and that we are loved and that we are protected if you are in a safe, secure, and loving environment, which all of everyone should be in so they can live to their maximum potential.
Love it. I love it.
I love it. All three in alignment. All good.
All good in the hood.
All good. All good. So
How much
that,
got up? That was pretty good. I think that wraps up part 2. We don't need a part 3, right?
We have 7 minutes left in this video.
I don't know if we necessarily need a part 3. I just kind of felt like we needed to expound a little bit more on our journeys and staying committed to that, even no matter what.
No matter what.
Because the question is like, people want to know, how did you really break away from that? And it's by trust. It's by going off of your intuition. And it's by, blind faith. And they talk about that all the time.
All the time.
The traditional religions.
Religion.
Blind faith. Some things you do aren't going to make a bit of sense until you get on the other side of it. And then you're going to be like, okay, I see you. But you have to have that faith. I have done some things in these past few years. Like I think I said this in a previous video, where I'm looking at myself like, I know you lying. That's not a part of the plan. And then when it's over with, it's like, okay, I'm glad I trusted. I'm glad I did that crazy thing. I'm glad I did something that I didn't think that I didn't know what the result was going to be. I just did it because I felt it, and I felt like, okay, you know what? I'm going to take this blind faith, and I'm going to make that choice, and I'm going to deal with whatever the consequence is, or the result is. And when you get to that point where you don't care what the result is, because this is it's leading you this way, and whatever the result is meant for you, then it's a win-win.
It's a win-win. And that's true. And you can use from religion to spirituality, you can use the stories from the Bible. So for instance, let's say Jesus when he had to walk his walk. And the stories of the Bible talked about how he was afflicted and attacked, and even his best friend betrayed him. I mean, the man went through a lot of things that all of us go through in our lifetime of living on the earth. And he always walked alone. Sometimes he would walk with people alongside of him, but everyone always fell off. And in the end, it was Jesus by himself performing these miracles and doing things that didn't make sense and to people and the things that they saw. And you can really use that for yourself as far as being a black sheep in the family or something like that, because if he had to endure all of those things, if you're on the religious side, you can look at yourself like, what makes me so much more important that I shouldn't have to endure that same type of walk?
Exactly.
So all you do is just walk the walk and walk what you believe in. And what I found to be true is if you keep walking your walk, all the people that walk the walk with you are going to start to align up next to you.
Yes.
And you're going to be happier
That's
walking
true.
with your tribe. Exactly. You're going to be happier walking with your tribe as opposed to walking in a tribe that you don't feel connected to and you don't even believe in. And I went through this with my own mother when she said, how come you just can't be normal? And my question to my mother was, well, what is normal? Like, what is normal? And she didn't understand me and I didn't understand her. But at some point, we have to get to the point where we just agree to disagree. Just like Nalo was saying, it's about respect, trust, and love. Everyone's journey is separate. We're in a collective together, but it's still separate. Like, we're doing this video together, but when we hang up, we're going to be individuals doing our own thing again. We just together at this thing. So you not having fear is a part of the faith walk. You shouldn't give a damn about who's not feeding you, financing you, and you already know what the third one is. But that's just what I believe. And when you live like that, you'll be more brave about your walk because you want people that want to come line up with your walk. You're not going to feel good jumping in a group or walking with people and you're just not vibing what they're talking about anyway. So you only get one life. So you need to live it to the fullest with what you believe in. So we're just here to open people's eyes and so they can know that they can think for themselves and believe in whatever they want to believe in and do whatever works for them and themselves, period.
As long as you're not hurting anybody else. The way go by your feet, it makes you feel happy, peaceful, positive, and you're not down and depressed and sad, then that's the way to go. As long as you're not hurting anybody else.
Exactly. So we hope you really like this video. You can like, share, subscribe if you vibe, and press the notification so you can get notices on the video so we can keep this going in the rotation. And if you want to reach out to any of us, we're at whatsoulsistersay@gmail.com, so you can reach out to us anytime you want. And then I think Rod's working on the individual, what is it again?
We're going to be offering individual needs services. You need a tarot reading, you can hit up Keisha. You need any personal coaching, you can contact Lady Dara and all kinds of things with this Nalo, okay?
Or if you have your own ideas that you want to bring to us, we're open for any type of ideas or to collaborate with anything that's going on.
Yes.
All right, ladies.
Is that it? Nothing else? Are we all done?
I think that's it. I mean, what else can we say?
This is what Soul Sisters say.
Until next time, family.
Until next time, family. Love you.
Love you.
Yeah.